Tichisel hem is still open. Please have a winning one Galaxy Samsung Galaxy S6 with them 5 mini iPads. So suppose you were interested in winning something here, you go put the Tichisel behind and you fill them in business card to you suppose you can. Could our other remaining panelists for the last session, if you know you're in the last session, could you please make your way up front for us to proceed with our last session. So you make a 3 finish. Suppose not two we still step out yet. Let's have a come forward. Please have a proceed. Last session today. Again, last session, Brahmi, Hemi should start very shortly. Before we start, you want them tell them thank you again, all partners, Brahmi, got Australian Aid, TRR, the Tourism Office, USP, we always have a partner, Brahmi have a host them event, Loplesa today, over the past yesterday, Kasam. Also, you want them tell them thank you, all sponsors, you got Telecom Vanuatu Limited, Digicel, Pacific Broadband Satellites, Opticom, Inomial, Computer World, Interchange, CNS, Red Bank, Vanuatu National Provident Fund, Ahitec, OneTalk, Global Pacific Telecom, SPIM, Mobi Money, Alpha Vanuatu with them Shapa Image. Can you just come in? Hemi ICT Days 2015, you must have celebrate them team. We have telecommunication and ICTs, drivers of innovation. And the past few hours, including yesterday, we go through some very interesting discussion. Look how now technology has start change some way, doing business, make a more process, and you may hope say all awareness will start come out. You feel like lanam. And again, suppose if you like at questions, no fright, local look lol push, well stop, kata all kata plo meteo, all kata plo ministry plo lands, to all stop as well as all sponsors play me. Ask them question, and suppose you know ka chance, kat all office all kata well stop, please have a ko look all kata and you talk what all kata. But again, don't forget, say tonight, you got one ICT Awards night. By him start 5 o'clock. And you me everyone, you me welcome, you me come look, you me one exciting time, please have a look. All one them kind company who you me win them 6 prizes. We have me stop, only very high demand price, and you me hope look all announcement tonight. And you got all price, lo side lo best website, best digital inclusion innovation. I got also best customer service and for another one. So you come, you look tonight, you can one idea lo all one kind services, all one kind innovation now, all the stuff out there, especially lo Vanuatu as well as outside. So again, you got question, you know, Friday, you go around, you ask them. Hemi 1 day, 2 days no more 1 year where all experts play me telecommunication, all is have a come, play lulugol kata, you have ask them question, and you meet them all kata, play you got one good time, especially play deliberations and all other networking session going. Okay, without talking any further, I'd like to welcome the few experts who are already up front. They will start off very shortly, and I will pass on the mic to the moderator.
Good afternoon. My name is Michael Geilhofer. I am on my 50th anniversary of working in the ICT world. Probably the oldest guy around here who's ever done this kind of work. And I'm really honored to moderate the session. We've got some very key people here. A couple of them are still missing and are on their way. I'd like to introduce Mr. Biko, the CEO of TVL. And by the way, he's offered to do a quick presentation while we wait for the rest of the folks. And then Digicel, Mr. Middlebrook, and of course the venerable Mr. McGarry from Public Policy on the very end. So if we could start the presentation, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's very important for us, all of us now that, you know, it's the last day of this ICT event, okay? And it's very important for us to know where is ICT moving, what is the future for ICT around the world, and where we can here in Vanuatu position in view of looking at, you know, how we can use ICT to create growth. If you see now, okay, right, the global trend in ICT, we have 4 directions that ICT is going these days. You have cloud computing, which is mostly focused towards the business environment. You have a lot of OTT players coming. As you can see at our stall, we have done some demonstration of OTTs. You have smart countries. Smart countries, you know, if you don't position yourself in this direction, you will find yourself building up cities which is a bit outdated. And you have the element of big data. When you take into consideration the element of how globally things are moving, you will see that by 2019, globally there will be 10 times more smartphone traffic, 10 times more mobile data traffic, and 50% of mobile data traffic will come from video, and the number of mobile subscription will move to 9.3 million. As we are now, the population of the world is 7 billion, but the mobile subscription is going to move to 9.3 billion by the year 2019. If you see, this is a picture showing you what was Vatican in 2005. and now what is Vatican, okay? So you can see the difference, previously how people were watching, looking at, the Pope prayers and how now they're looking at the Pope prayers. Things has changed enormously when we talk about the way technology has moved around in the world. So as you can see here, actual trend is ICT, as I said, cloud computing, mobile apps, there's a lot of mobile apps coming up, internet for things and OTT, big data and smart country. These are things that, what's coming up in the future and will really revolutionize the way we talk, work, do business, entertain and all. So first of all, I will go on the element of cloud computing. Cloud computing, as you can see, it's previously this is a model that you are having a computer, which you were supposed to change that computer every 5 years to change the same. Now the way the new computer is different. The model has totally changed. Okay, it has changed in a way that you can see that you don't need all these things. You can change your application. You can change everything. You can change a lot of way you will do your business, you will entertain and all everything by using everything on the cloud. Sorry, I'm not able to see, So it's where I stand. So you will see evolution toward cloud computing, evolution of computing, mainframe, PC, client servers, web sync. Key benefit of computing is avoid procurement delays. You can buy at any time, you can buy anything anywhere in the world. You can reduce capital expenditures because, when you are talking about buying a big computer, you have a lot of investment that you have went ago. So when you are talking about cloud computing, you can heavily reduce your expenditures. Speed provisioning and deployment, it's a question of in one day you can get everything and get your business up and moving. You will have a low cost of operation. You will have response quick to new business needs. So you can see there's a lot of things that you can do with the cloud computing. And the global trend in computing focus overview is annual global data central IP traffic to reach 4.8 zettabyte by end 2015. Public cloud workload will double over the next 3 years. Annual global cloud to traffic will reach 1.6 billion zettabyte by end of 2015. And the 2010, you have 1.5 gigabyte global traffic. And you can see a traditional DC traffic, 89%. As you talk, is cloud traffic, 11%. But this is where it's going to move afterwards in 2015 nowadays. Traditional data traffic is 64%. Cloud traffic has moved to 34%. So you can see that there's quite a lot of movement going on around cloud computing. And this is what is a global trend, okay? The different applications, different things that you can do on cloud computing, which is software-based, infrastructure-based, platform-based, and all. So you have 4 models upon which you can do it. And based on this public cloud spectrum stack overview, you can put a lot of data. What do it yourself if somebody else can do it for you? So SaaS, you have PaaS, you have IaaS. So there's a lot of things that you can do around with cloud computing. At TVL, we have a vision toward cloud computing, which is well defined. This is the way that we want to go for it. And I don't want to go in the detail of it. Okay. So we are looking forward to bring cloud computing in the environment so that business can perform better by your use of cloud computing. The second element that I want to bring here is OTT players. Everybody talk about OTT players in the telecom environment. We always look at, is it a threat or benefit to network operators? Because we always look, OTT players are taking a lot of revenue from us, but are they an evil or a friend? Okay, telecom versus OTT players. One of the loudest debate in today's telecom industry concerns the response to OTT players. So if you take a snapshot, what telco does and what OTT players do. Telecom industry has experienced Money changes, we have undergone a lot of changes. We have all sorts of co-activities, network sharing and mutualization evolution from CT to ICT. OTT players is the right of consumer view IP, Skype, MS, links, WhatsApp, social network, and mobile apps, impact of telecom industry, IPTV, independent cloud services provisioners, and P2P. So what is OTT? OTT is more over the top, okay, where somebody comes and provide application. There's a lot of things moving up here. You have a lot of players when it comes to OTT. So you can see here how things has moved on OTT. How, the model has changed, okay, right? Where, you have service providers, content, platform, internet, and then the users. The model has moved a lot, so it has created a lot of value. Smart country on the other side, you can see things going to move, okay, right? There's a lot of things you can do where, your cost of running a city itself is going to change heavily if you're able to create a very smart city. You can see you can get a lot of things with smart city, and then accordingly you can see the curve. Up there you can see here, if you go for smart city, you go up. If you don't go for smart city, this is where you're going to be in the world. So it's very important for you to consider and see that how you can position on smart city. Another thing is big data. This is where you have a global storage of data from where you can pull up data and do everything. So you can see here, this is very important for everybody to know, is data collection. You can see how much data move around in the world in every second using different applications. So there's a lot of data that goes around, and if you use it, you will get big benefit of it. So this is a bit of it. Thank you very much, and we'll give the opportunities for others to talk. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. As you know, we're going to ask the panelists to make predictions. I think that was a great technical presentation, but I think we'd like to go amongst the panelists and try to make a prediction as to what is ICT going to look like here in Vanuatu in the next 5 years. And shall we start with Mr. McGarry?
Thanks, Michael. Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry, too much pamitel ang totoklami lo English. Suppose you got any question, any something, but you say ask him lo Ishlama, Franis, English, anyone, but you say answer. It's when I first came to Vanuatu about 11.5 years ago, we were about 10 years behind the technology that I had left at home in Canada. Now, the place I was living in was one of the most advanced areas. We saw residential broadband internet before just about anywhere else in North America, because we were lucky enough to be where the research was being done. So, we need to bear that in mind. But we did a lot over the course of that, of a little more than a decade. And Vanuatu has become one of the leaders in the Pacific in terms of the way in which it has embraced technology to improve the lives of Ni Vanuatu. I think that we can be proud of the work that everybody has done, and that's everybody at this table as well. There's been work on the policy side in terms of getting the political will. There's been work on the market, on liberalizing the market, opening up to competition. One of the key things that I always remember is a young woman looking at me straight in the eye a few years after Digicel had started work, and she said quite earnestly, Digicel changed life for me. The ability of everybody in the country to communicate together is a huge win. We will continue. It's inevitable because we have extremely good people. We have good institutions and we have a great environment. It's great to see competitors willing to sit down together and take on a challenge, as they have done under the universal access policy. Now, all of that, which is a big advance for the country, all of that has got us to the point where today we're only 10 years behind the rest of the world. In other words, we haven't moved relative to the way to the state of the art and the developed world, and in fact, we're falling behind. We're falling behind a little bit. Back in 2003, 2004, I was paying about 10 times the amount that I would normally pay for retail internet to get about 1/10 of what I could get for the same price, elsewhere. And now we're paying about 10 times the level that we are with, and getting about 1/10 of what we used to get. That's changing. The cable has helped us to a large degree, and we're slowly getting personal internet to a point where the average Ni Vanuatu can start to think about it. It's a huge challenge, and I know that especially these two gentlemen beside me take it very, very seriously, and they cut as close to the bone as they can. But we as a country face immense logistical challenges that will never change. So we will do a great deal to improve the amount of bandwidth that we get. I think I'm actually quite optimistic about 2018. I think that we will largely reach the goal that the government has set. And I think in the years to come, we'll continue to progress. But we need more than that. We need to do more. We need to run faster than we can if we're going to catch up to the rest of the world. And I think that that's a challenge that we can take on. But it's going to take a huge amount of effort and a huge amount of cooperation, not only from the private sector, but from the international institutions as well.
You bring up some very good points. The cost of data delivery, of course, and how do we stay up with the rest of the world here in Vanuatu? So why don't we ask Mr. Middlebrook to give us his view.
So probably about 15 years ago in Australia, we had exactly the same comparisons and conversations on the price of data versus the US. And a lot of it comes down to the logistical issues of covering such a vast country as in Australia with such a limited population compared to the US. And Vanuatu has exactly the same challenges, I guess, on a much smaller scale again. Fibre has only recently come onto the island as far as the Pacific pipe fibre into Vanuatu, as well as multiple islands and multiple transmission points for very limited amounts of population. So there is high cost per capita for delivery, and we're always going to face that challenge. But we are, with TVL and Digicel and a number of other players coming into the market delivering ISP services, Vanuatu is one of the most competitive markets for Digicel in the Pacific by a long shot. So, yeah, and the price will continue to come down. I think as we move forward to coverage and Digicel's rolling out its fibre and TVL's rolling out fibre into Santo, and as the years progress and now, I guess, lower cost transmission mediums across the country increase, then the cost of supplying that data to the population will decrease significantly. That's definitely sort of, let's say in the next sort of 5 years, if you're looking at that outlook, that's what's going to be needed to be able to do that. Whereas traditionally, let's say the last 5 years, we've delivered internet services by mobile mediums, so 3G, 2G, microwave connections. So the cost of deploying those is quite high. not only in an infrastructure point of view, but also in the power consumption and all the other intangibles which go along with that. So as technology, Vanuatu's adoption of such technology increases, then the price of that will decrease. So that's a prediction in the way of pricing and cost of data and access for the public.
Some comments from TVL.
Thank you. From our side, what we see here in this environment, it's that, when you see the Pacific itself, okay, there is a bit of changes, I believe, in the next 5 years going to come. When you take big continent like Africa, okay, you have 5 or 6 operators. When you talk about the Pacific, you have more than 10 to 15 operators throughout the Pacific. I believe that, in the next 5 years, there's going to be quite a lot of integration, more acquisition, merger acquisitions, and also consolidation of the markets that's going to be, which is going to change the way services will be provided, the way cost is going to be there, the way innovation is going to be driven throughout the system. Secondly, we believe that, with the coming of the UAP, okay, whereby, there will be a lot of people who are going to have access to data with the 3G. There will be quite a lot of changes the way people are going to use a mobile phone. Today, as we see that, compared to the rest of the world, most of the traffic is Vanuatu is SMS and voice, but we believe there will be a big change moving towards data, moving towards OTT, moving towards other applications, because we believe that, there is a lot of gap in the market in view of ability to get access to a lot of things. And we see ICT, the mobile industry, the telecom industry is going to close a lot of gap, whereby, information related to the government, information related to the weather, information related to entertainment and all. I believe this is what ICT is going to drive in the environment, okay? And I believe that, it's high time that, taking into consideration the level of penetration that we are having now, the opportunities that is there in the market, we position all of us in a good way so that, we are able to embrace the future in a very digitalized way. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. I'd like to introduce Fred Samuel, the Chief Information Technology Officer for the country of Vanuatu, who's going to give us his view. And then I think we ought to roll back to the cost issue and the technology issue of, that this country faces on how to offer broadband connections, high-speed broadband connections, high-speed data connections. Fred?
Thank you, Michael, for the opportunity. Good afternoon to everyone. I think all the other panelists have given you a lot of information and predictions about ICT for Vanuatu in the future. I won't repeat what they've said, but I'll basically give some of my predictions around, first of all, the infrastructure. Where do we see ICT and telecom infrastructure in the next 5 years? I'll be talking about, especially being the government CIO, I'll give my prediction on how ICT is going to influence government service delivery. And thirdly is just to give you an idea on my first prediction about the trend in user end devices. And the fourth one is on cloud computing. First of all, on the infrastructure, obviously you all know about the government policy, UAP. My prediction is that in the next 5 years, we'll have 98% coverage of the population in ICT and telecommunication. On the broadband connectivity, obviously I've been in this industry for the last 16 years and I've seen all the developments in the local telecom industry over the last 16 years. I remember when I started work with TVL, I used to program mobile phones. It's very heavy, by the way. Now you have a small smartphone, the size of your palm. My prediction is that the broadband connectivity will reach out not only in field and look and feel, but will be connecting all the provinces as well as in the islands. Our intention is that the people in the rural areas also have the same speed and connectivity as in the urban centers. We know that TVL has TCCL has talked about the new fiber rollout. Today, only TVL has fiber in Villa, and as well as limited fiber in look and feel. My prediction in the next 5 years, both operators will be competing aggressively on the fiber rollout. I expect that the most businesses and government houses will have fiber connectivity, and with the plans that I'm hearing from both of them, we'll start to roll out fiber to the homes, which is a very welcome investment and a good infrastructure. The fact that we'll have fiber to the homes that will allow IPTV and other value-added services that Prakash predicted. On the international connectivity, on the accessibility or infrastructure, my view is, especially if you go to the interchange stall, they're talking about the Melanesian cable. My view is that we'll have the second, and if we're lucky, the third cable connecting out from Vanuatu, and most possibly it'll be connecting here to look and feel, and then to Oniara to PNG, and as well as connecting here to Tana and New Caledonia. That's my best prediction. It depends on funding, depends on commitment of the stakeholder, including the government. Still on the fiber, my prediction on the next 5 years is that there'll be more fiber connectivity between other Pacific Island states. For example, I just stated from to Solomon to PNG, maybe here to New Caledonia, from New Caledonia to PNG. We'll see, fiber rollout across the Pacific Islands, which is very good. It means we will be fully connected. There'll be more redundancy. There'll be backup. Yep, that's my prediction on the infrastructure. On government services, as you know, government now has its own fiber, government broadband infrastructure, but that's purely a telecom infrastructure. We need to move more into using software and applications. To name a few, my view, and according to e-government plans, is that we'll start to automate some of our manual processes. I give for an example, the voting system. Today we're using paper-based voting system. My view that in the future we'll start to introduce electronic voting system. That's an example. I expect modernization of how the government deliver education and learning services. We'll expect more teachers to be online. We will expect students all around Vanuatu to be connected online, connecting with professionals, professors, and experts not necessarily in Vanuatu, but also in other countries in the world. That's around education. I expect that there's more hospitals will be connected. That means more of our health and medical doctors and specialists will be able to connect online and do remote diagnosis for patients around the islands. That is if we have good, reliable connectivity with all the islands. Obviously, we'll expect more provincial headquarters and area council secretaries in all the provinces to be connected to the main government network and being able to do their services. We expect that there'll be more government offices participating in the social media. There'll be government online providing most of the information through websites. And I can go on, but I expect that the government, one thing I forgot, that there'll be more interaction between citizens as well as government online. So that's some of my best prediction on government fully utilizing ICT. The third one is the user devices. My view is that obviously desktop will start to phase away. We will no longer be using desktop. For those who don't, that's desktop right in front of us. I expect that more people will be using smartphones. We'll protect a big and heavy growth on the smartphone, and we expect the affordability of the smartphone as it go down. There'll be more uptake of smartphones. More people will be using tablets instead of laptops, and as well as desktop. That's the best prediction on the user hand devices. The last one is on cloud computing. I don't think everyone is fully familiar with cloud computing, but anyway, I'll just give my best prediction about cloud computing. So today we have a lot of business houses and government, and still some government agencies that have their own servers. They have their own server room. I expected that even including Vanuatu government, I would expect that the trend would be, as Prakash mentioned, more into cloud computing. Most offices, businesses will be hosting all the application in the cloud. And also, I see a growth in terms of data center build-ups, either through government and big players. And slowly we'll start to see server rooms being phased out. And a lot of the connectivity will be using wireless-based. That's my quick update on the prediction over the next 5 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. You're bringing up a very important point. That is, the general trend in the world is to move to mobile. Desktops have been pretty out of it for the last 4 or 5 years. I was surprised when I got here last year how they were still in almost 100% use in the offices, but that's shifting. The world is clearly going mobile. Interestingly enough, we've got more mobile phones in operation in the world today than there are people. And all that happened in the last, I'd say about 20 years, a little bit less than 20 years. We now have, 6 years ago, Steve Jobs decided to go issue a new mobile phone type, the smartphone. And in these 6 years, this smartphone type product is at about a 1.3 billion numbers that are in use in the world, and 1 billion more are being sold every day. So every month. I'll get it right, every year. So I guess I'd like to have the panel address the mobile issue and also the access issue. Clearly, access in Port Vila and Luganville is good, but access in a village, access in a remote school, access in a remote health center, that is a much more important issue, and I'd like the panel to address it. And just to throw out a couple of thoughts, Google's got a $1 billion program running to go ahead and provide internet access via satellites to the third world. And I checked with the Google labs, and they are planning to service the area here. They're going to put up 180 satellites over the next 4 or 5 years. And Facebook on the other side is using a slightly different technology, but also in a very, very large scale. And it'd be interesting to get comments from certainly the two gentlemen in the industry. What do they think about access, about getting competition from these major internationals, and how could they support access into the remote areas here?
I think access is something which is important, but also is an element of, the way people use technology is also important to look at. Let me tell you, during the cyclone pump, we were giving free internet services to the people, okay? People were coming to our shop or going to NDM office or anything, they were getting free internet. But the way people were using these internet services, that was a big concern. And, we did a bit of a study, to see that, how people is using internet for what. So there was people using it for good purpose, but some people were not using it for good purpose. So, we had to put password and all everything. What I mean to say here, okay, is very important for us to develop to the next phase, to build the required capacity and capability. It's good with the government UAP project, okay, that we are trying to connect schools and all. And when I came here, when I was sitting here on the very first day, I was very happy to see so many computers here. And also you saw so many students, going there, and they were the first to be interested with those computers. This is where we need to be. We need to build the capacity. We need to build the capability for those people to use those services. Once those people know that, what they can do with technology, what they cannot do with technology, and what's the restriction and how they must behave using technology, I believe that is where we are going to get value out of ICT as it should be. Let me give you some of the example also, concerning that, where, we have faced issues concerning misuse of ICT. We have seen we have full access concerning, who is getting access, what type of access is going on ICT and all. We have seen that, some of the behaviors which are not that good when it comes to ICT use. So it's good that, we have an audience of so many students and all. I believe that, what is most important, we are doing as operators, be it TBL or DDCL, we are pushing technologies to you. We are looking at, with the support of the government and all, we are doing what we can do to push technology. What we will appreciate that, those technologies of the future are well used, okay, and people use it to grow, build capacity, build capability, and grow the country using the same.
So just, I guess, address a couple of things that you said. So the first one being Google's project, so the O3B, the other 3 billion. Very familiar with that, as that had become Digicel Papua New Guinea's primary method of access to the internet. Now, Vanuatu is quite fortunate that we do have a Pacific fiber line in here, which mitigates the, I guess, the impact. Well, impact's not the right word, because Google's project is very much about bringing internet to the developing nations, but the private sector here and everyone here has got the benefit of the interchange fiber. So I don't think that Vanuatu will see a large presence from the Google project here. The cost of actually bringing that in, just to say service a remote island, would be extremely high from a base station point of view. So I think we're quite fortunate, and we do have the infrastructure in place to be able to reach the coverage goals that Vanuatu has of 98%. In the wake of Cyclone Pam, we took it on ourselves as far as looking for that silver lining in the clouds, as far as increasing our 3G coverage off the back of the damage that was done to some of our towers, allowing us to expand that and bring those projects forward. We do have a roadmap as far as increasing our coverage to 100% on 3G. That is quite a long roadmap, but looking at our adoption of smartphones, even the last 3 months, it has shot up very rapidly. And in the wake of Cyclone Pam as well, we've seen a monstrous increase in the uptake of lower end smartphones, of sub 5,000 Vatu smartphones, and which is also prompting us to increase our rollout of our 3G. So we have our plans to obviously to reach the outer edges and to provide mobile internet to all of Vanuatu. Off the back of that is also our broadband services, which will function off the same transmission network.
So your strategy is to use the 3G network or the existing network and expand it to 3G so that coverage is available throughout the islands.
Correct, yes. So while we do have broad coverage, there's a certain percentage of that which is still sitting on 2G and 2.5G. And the roadmap has always been in place to increase the 3G coverage. And post-Cyclone Pam, we've taken the opportunity from some of the damage which has been caused to actually do those upgrades now, rather than when they were future planned.
Dan?
Thanks, Michael. I think we need to recognize the contribution that the private sector has made, that the telecommunications companies, both Telecom Vanuatu and Digicel. When on the night of Cyclone Pam, I was updating social media on a regular basis. There were about 40 or 50,000 people hanging on to every single message. The internet finally disappeared about 9:30 that night, when my internet provider lost their tower, which is a catastrophic event. By 4:30 in the morning, I was back on the internet. And this is after a Category 5 cyclone. The work that our telecos do, they really are quite well suited to the environment. And so I think Andrew's point about being the guys who really know how to get out to the islands is a really important one, and we can't forget it. That said, there's one thing about the internet. The fundamental truth of the internet is that it's open. Openness is the internet. It is the essence of the internet. The fact that I don't have to be on the same service as you for the two of us to talk together, to usefully exchange information, that is the whole point of the internet, that we don't have to do a one-to-one communication or a long-distance phone call or what have you. We do everything over data. Telcos, internet providers will have to change. The business model has to change in order for us to continue to advance. The reason that the telecommunications regulator has made it so easy to get a telecommunications license now is in order to encourage as many players in the market as possible. And we have to be clear that the national interest is not to choose, be choosing our internet provider because they're the one that's there, but choose them because they are the best at providing the service. Now, the ones that we have a natural advantage, and they're good at what they do. So I think they will continue to be dominant players in this market, but they sure won't be the only ones. And that is a good thing. It serves the nation and it serves our development agenda.
I do also have to make a comment about the cyclone. I'm a Peace Corps volunteer, so my government decided to evacuate us from Vanuatu to Sydney. What was it, about 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturday morning, right after the cyclone, I was able to get to the data center here. So the service into Vanuatu never went down. And I have to really express admiration
Michael,
for the
I'm really
various
sorry.
organizations.
I forgot to do this before. I just need to make a mention of the fact that the president of Interchange spent the night down at the cable station praying and hoping and just holding things together. And I think Simon needs to be recognized, and the dedication of all the technicians and the people, the work that they did. It wasn't just, oh, they're good, and they got to sit back and relax. The work that they did over through the cyclone was tremendous.
Let's move on to Fred.
Yeah, I just like I have two comments. One on the related to cyclone palm, and the other is on the Kukul and O3P. First of all, on the cyclone palm, just information for the audience here and for the audience who are listening from the radio, is that although the cyclone palm has destroyed the domestic, a lot of domestic infrastructure, please note that all the core network for TFL, for digital, interchange, and government, the core network was online. Generators were running 24/7. All the services were online. It's just the connectivity to the islands that are being damaged because the wind has severely damaged all the towers. In Fila, thanks to UNELCO, they were able to get the links to all the sites and all the connection accessibility around Fila, and especially Fila came back online within hours on Saturday and Sunday morning. So again, thanks to TVL and Digital's swift, fast response. My comment on Kukul and O3P project, my view is that any competition on satellite connectivity is welcome in Vanuatu. We heard about Google project, O3P. I have Shaki from Kasivika promoting satellite connectivity. I heard from Bob, ambassador from CDO, talking about some initiative from IMASAT and Indelsat. I think any competition in satellite is welcome. My view is that we will still continue to rely on submarine cable connectivity to the outside wall, satellite and connectivity between Fila and Sando, including especially major provincial centers, will fully capitalize on the infrastructure that port operators have heavily invested on. My view is that satellite, any new initiative on the satellite will be targeting mainly areas where we could not connect them using current terrestrial network of TVL and DCL. I have to explain that to get the 3G network using the terrestrial network to some of our remote villages, it's quite costly and difficult. And this is where I find competing satellite providers as a good alternative for the government or the operators to use it as an alternative means to connect those remote areas. My second view, but then I cannot talk for TVL and digital, is that they might use satellite connectivity for backhaul domestic trunks for the 4G or 3G services. That's my quick take on satellite. Thank you.
I was wondering if we might want to switch gears just for a minute and move out of the technology space and move into the social space. You know, a question that pops up around the world is the internet a fundamental human right? Would you like to address that?
You think I could let that one go? After World War II, when the devastation across most of Western Europe and significant parts of Asia, it was decided that human rights needed to be codified and listed, you know, so that we could say, every nation in the world could agree that freedom of conscience, freedom of expression, freedom of association, and freedom to travel were fundamental to human rights. And the internet destroys distance, it helps expression, it allows us to learn and to think for ourselves. It is fundamental to human rights. It's a right in itself, any more than a road is a right. A road allows us the freedom to travel, but we could have gone anyway. It was just much harder. That's the distinction that we need to draw. And I think we should make a mention that in Vanuatu, discussion has become something that, you know, public discourse has become something that's very wild and occasionally quite impolite, especially on Yumi Tok Tok Stret and other social media. But, you know, it's really remarkable just how productive it's been. You know, and again, in the aftermath of Cyclone Pam, there were a lot of rumors flying around, you know, oh, so-and-so is getting this, so-and-so is getting that, I didn't get, you know, and this sort of thing. And it was amazing how quickly we were able to correct mistaken impressions and to be clear that we're all in this together, that we're all working together. You know, the response to Cyclone Pam was remarkably free from politics, from nepotism, from corruption as we know it. It was really quite a historic exercise and an historic achievement. And people realized that. So within a few days of, you know, these first rumors popping up, people began to say, so you know, got evidence, you sa mapaliwas and you start quiet this time. And that's really good. So I think that Vanuatu is maturing in its use, its exercise of these human rights. And I think that that's because we have an open forum, because there aren't these constraints being put upon us. And I think that the people of Vanuatu just, you know, they know how to do it. And I think that we can teach a great deal to the rest of the world in terms of maintaining the public discourse.
Any new rights that come and make business sense for us is good. No, I think that, you know, internet is something which is very important, you know. For me myself, I have two sons, okay, right? For them, you know, if there's no, it was like, you know, when we were kids, when we were small, we had a lot of game and all to play. And today, everything, all the children's and all everything, they mostly use the internet to do a lot of things. I believe that, you know, and I've seen them the way they have been growing using the internet and all. It's, I can say that 10 times faster than my growth itself. So I believe that, you know, internet as a service, okay, as a tool, I can say, It's very important for everybody. And I believe the government, the private sectors, the NGOs and all, we need to look at, how we can make it accessible to everybody. Because internet accessibility is accessibility to education. And I believe education is a fundamental right of everybody. Everybody needs to be educated to be able to embrace the new society. And internet is one of the tools which is here, readily available, easily available, if it's brought close to you, where you're open to a pool of knowledge. And I believe that, with a school connectivity program where, the school will be connected with the internet and internet facilities will be available to the school, and also centralization of an education system where you can get access to books and all. I believe this is a very good thing that being done in view of ensuring that, all the students, everybody get access to internet in view of improving their day-to-day life.
So the internet, I guess, was the first real global decentralized. So I guess the internet coming online and its adoption was the real first decentralization of anything globally. Like, yes, we can travel, but we still have border controls. And I think that is a hallmark for the future. We're getting so used to being able to communicate with people in Canada, people in the US, Mexico, anywhere, that, it's impacted the way we communicate. My mum doesn't talk to me anymore. She only texts. And that's the same. I rarely have a phone call outside of business these days. It's all about data. And I guess it's meandering a little bit, but that decentralization comes back to, should it be a right? I don't think it should be a right. I think anything that can be abused in any way cannot be a right. Something needs to, the internet is a wonderful thing, but it cannot, I do not see it as a right for everyone to have. If it is a right, then the government needs to subsidize it heavily so that we can give it to everyone. That's one aspect of it. But you take China, for example, heavily restricted. I have no idea what it's like in there from an internet use point of view. But I guess the point across is that as a human right, I think it more falls into the same bracket as a human's right to have electricity and water and things like that. Yes, it's our responsibility as socially conscious organisations and partnerships with the government to be able to deliver that. But as a basic human right, no, I cannot see it.
Yes, from a government perspective, I'd strongly recommend that internet should be a human right. It should be made available to all citizens of this country. We, together with TRR and Australian government, we did a pilot project at Rensari. I'm sure all of you are fully aware of that project. Has demonstrated that ICT is a real enabler and can definitely have a positive transformation on the education system for this country. As you know, we have some of the poor literacy and numeracy rate in the Pacific. I strongly believe that providing ICT to 400 plus schools and health centers in this country will definitely have an impact on the learning ability for the kids, as well as improve the capacity for the teachers. Any kids using ICT, if we are able to provide internet to all the schools in rural areas, they will have access to the same type of content that any students around the world, whether in London, Port Phillip, Paris, New York, they'll be able to provide this, to have access to the same type of content, including teachers as well. So, so that's one. Secondly is, although internet should be a human right, there's important things that we have to do to protect and make the internet safe. Government, together with private sector and the stakeholders, we need to move fast in ensuring that the cyber legislation, the law, goes before the parliament during the next session. To ITU, we've run a risk readiness assessment test. We need to set up the computer incident response task force, which comprises the government and the industry, we need to create a said infrastructure to provide an extra safety net for all our citizens who goes online. Thirdly, for the child online protection, I'm appealing to the Child Protection Steering Committee that we proceed and we move fast in adopting the child online strategy that ITU has helped us to develop. We need to get that before the Council of Ministers ASAP, because the child online protection strategy will help us to protect our kids when they go online. On the disability, we need to provide accessibility to the disabled and the most vulnerable and disadvantaged citizens of the society. Lastly, on language and cultures, Vanuatu is well known as being one of the most linguistic diverse country on earth. With only 260,000 population, we have over 103 languages. We have a very rich culture and tradition. Unfortunately, that is slowly fading away. We need to make sure that we have strategies, and all the stakeholders, we have to work together. And I strongly believe that ICT is a real enabler and can help us to protect some of our languages and as well as our unique culture. Thank you.
Thank you. I was going to offer to open the floor to some questions. Does anybody have any questions? Mic down there.
Thank you, Chairman. Bob Horton from the CTO. I very much enjoyed Fred's presentation. His four predictions, I think, were pretty well spot on in general, and provide a framework for putting some vision around the future in terms of planning. Now, in terms of technology and the social implications of the internet, a couple of first on the social implications, I could say that by the year 2020, we'll see globally use of the mobile networks and devices by humans about 9 billion. Now, at the same time, we'll see the Internet of Things using the internet and largely mobile or radio networks of 10 times that, 100 billion. So in terms of any fundamental rights to the internet, human rights, it really is all things bright and beautiful should have a fundamental right to the internet. Humans are only going to be 1/10 of that use. Now, in terms of the technologies, yourself, Chairman, you spoke mostly of mobile cellular taking us into the future. But I think Fred's description of some form of radio was more appropriate. Dan talked about 10 years behind the rest of the world, a lot of the rest of the world, but you don't have to be 10 years behind. You need to be flexible in the adaptation of technology, absorbing what technology is available so that you're with the rest of the world. And that straight away means you don't talk about cellular mobile network, you talk about wireless. Now, this wireless gives you both access and it gives you backhaul. Backhaul is important. Backhaul can be fiber and it can be wireless, but it's a choice and a technical choice that is made usually by the operators at the time, but shouldn't be constrained in making that choice. Now, in terms of access, it could be by mobile cellular, but that could also be fixed wireless access using the same networks, or Wi-Fi offloads, or some form of what they call HETNets, heterogeneous networks. We heard a mention of satellites. In the next 3 years, you're going to see companies like Viasat, O3B, Pacific, Intelsat, coming up with high throughput satellite services, which are a generation ahead of the satellite services we know now in terms of capacity, speed, and probably prices too. So that comes into the equation as well. Now, at the WRC, the World Radio Communication Conference in November this year, the next generation of IMT, mobile telecommunications, will be 5G, and that the plans will be put on the board for that. 5G will have a very low latency, down to about a millisecond in many cases, It will service the Internet of Things, amongst other things, and it will have bandwidths of at least a gigahertz, huge bandwidths. So it will move up to 30, 40, 60 gigahertz in terms of, and that has massive implications for networks, because to have a low latency, high bandwidth thing, you need information resources close to the customer. I mean, so you're shifting information around in a different way than you've ever done before. So what my plea is to stay flexible in whatever you do. Fred's got the right sort of directions in mind, but how we get there is going to change enormously over the next few years. And you don't have to be 10 years behind. You can leapfrog, you can take in what's available. These guys want to make money, but they also want to keep abreast of what's going on. So yes, major comment, Internet of Things. So let's think about things as well as the rights of humans, because humans will only be 1/10 of the population of users of the internet. Think broadly in terms of technology, not any specific solutions. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Any comments here? Do we have any other question?
Thank you. I'd like to commend you for a very informative panel. It's helped me understand better some of the challenges that I will have as a Peace Corps volunteer doing IT work for the government. I had a question though, and I'm very curious, you touched on it a little bit, about where Vanuatu is in terms of net neutrality and data privacy policy. Is the private sector working with the regulatory bodies here? Is this a current conversation, or are you looking at where other places in the world may be going with some very contentious issues? Thank you.
It's a very good question, okay, because no environment will develop, if there's no good mutual understanding between different stakeholders, be it the regulator, be it the operator or the government. I believe Mr. Robox is here. We have a very good relationship. Whatever we have to go and discuss, we are just nearly next door. Okay, we go and discuss, put it on the table, we discuss and bring solution to it. Obviously, we have differences, and there need to be differences so that what his want and needs or my wants and needs are not sometimes are not the same. We discuss, but we come to a point which is of value to the society to whom we're delivering the service. So to answer your question, there is a very good relationship between us in view of ensuring that there's growth of ICT in the industry.
I guess my sentiments from the Digicel side will be very similar to TVL. Yes, we do have a very good relationship with the regulator. Everything, I guess, that we do, I mean, we're in just over 35 different developing markets. That's our business. You won't find Digicel in any developed market. So that's our business. And over the last 10, 12 years, I mean, we've been in Vanuatu 7 and most of the Pacific for 7. And a lot of these markets do see similar struggles, similar issues, both on a social and a technological standpoint. So, I mean, we bring a lot of experience to the table with the regulators in each of the markets that we work in. And this is something which obviously will continue.
I wanted to one more thing here. The regulator also, if he has to something to talk to us, come to us. He come to our office to discuss the issue, and this is something that we really appreciate. It's not everywhere in the world you will see the regulator coming to your office and discussing something to you. So thank you very much, Mr. Rock.
Just add on, from a government point of view, although we have the regulator, Ron, with all due respect, with all the powers under the Telecom Act, and although we have to cooperate and club players with their own lawyers, legal expert, the government has, doesn't want to see legal battle or fight when there's an issue. The most important thing, I mean, first and foremost, we have to respect the independence of the regulator, step out, allow him, help him and support him with his staff to build the capacity to be able to regulate the industry. Secondly is that the relationship between the regulator and the CEOs, that's very important. And you talk and try and solve, and build a good relationship. Ron will be completing his term in 1st of December. We are now in the process of recruiting another regulator. In the next few days, the Prime Minister has signed off. One of the key criteria, one of the key core functions and qualities of the new regulator will be to continue the type of relationship. Only when you cannot, solve it within that level, then you can start to seek legal actions. But it's in the best interest of the government that we try and sit and talk and solve, and where government can intervene, will intervene. On the data privacy that's captured in the national ICT policy, Jackson probably can highlight more. We need to fully complete and develop a proper strategy on that, and we need a very good legal framework around data privacy. It's a very important and a very key area. There's a lot of things to be done. The sector is growing so fast. Unfortunately, we have limited financial and human resources, but I think we're on the right track despite all the challenges we face. Thank you.
Just to cover the bases here, the Telecommunications Act is a good one regarding how telcos are allowed or not, as the case may be, to fiddle with traffic. The reason net neutrality is such a big deal in North America is because there's a lack of real competition. We have good competitive forces here in the Vanuatu market. It was a deliberate decision. I had a conversation with the inaugural regulator, the very first one who actually built the office. And I asked him the same question. I said, okay, where are you with net neutrality? He said, no, we don't have to start knocking people over their heads without, because we haven't got there yet. We haven't had to deal with that problem. And so far, as these gentlemen have said, the telcos have been great. I mean, they've been very respectful of the traffic. They know what their legal requirements are. And so far, the market has really has been the best arbiter. So in cases where, if my Skype isn't working well on one, then I can just go to the other guy, where the Skype does work. And the right things have happened. So no accident, but Vanuatu is actually a great place to use the internet.
Absolutely. There was another question over there.
So to the panel, something that Michael, Fred and I have been discussing over time in terms of the delivery of government services to the people, and I mean the people in the villages, etc. I'm interested in the panel's projection in 5 years' time when we talk about access to the internet. Is what is your prediction in terms of the use of the smartphone versus those who are still carrying around the old Nokia, and therefore we, in terms of delivering government services, would have to still consider SMS as a potential vehicle versus the internet? I'm interested in the panel's prediction as to the smartphone versus the old phone.
I'll have a quick take on that, and then Andrew for the Prakash and Andrew, and Dan. For me, it's two things which will have an influence on the uptake. First one is power, and the other one is affordability. Yeah? As you know, smartphones consume a lot more power than the normal phones. So, and out there in the rural areas, the challenge is having reliable power. Secondly is affordability. It will depend very much on the affordability of the individual, if the individual can afford to buy a smartphone. So I know that especially with TVL and digital pricing, that smartphone pricing are continually dropping. But in general, we expect, as I stated, my prediction is that we will have more uptake of smartphones in the coming years, and we expect the laptop and the desktop to slowly fade away from the market. Thank you.
Okay, so I mean, The distribution, I guess the adoption of smartphones in the market there's three main hurdles, one of them being education, second one being access to the network, and the third one being price. And all three of those are proving to be quite easily surmountable. The price of these handsets are dropping dramatically. Access to these can now easily be had for under 5,000 Batu. Network, the coverage of both operators are ever increasing to the edges of the country. And the third one is the education, and a lot of that, I mean, personally from our organisation, from Digicel, we are actively trying to educate everyone on the benefits and the accessibility of using these smartphones. From a tablet / smartphone versus a traditional laptop and desktop. If you look around the world, the desktop is gone, essentially. The laptop is, again, slowly being replaced. Many organizations and individuals have full access to applications off a tablet, much slimmer and much more affordable. And if you have a prediction, I couldn't put a number of years on it, but most things can be done now without the need for traditional methods of access. So yeah, it's increasing dramatically.
You know, we had an event in the north of Ifate, and there were a lot of villagers who attended the event. And we had a lot of people dance. There was a cultural show. We were really surprised to see that, how many people removed their smartphone and were taking photos. So you need to understand that, the penetration is not that bad, okay? And also when we see that the amount of sales going on when it comes to smartphone is quite high, okay, right? It's a bit, I can say that, above our expectancy, okay? So I think that, people are finding value out of a smartphone, and you need to understand that, with a smartphone, you can do a lot of things. And, when you are talking of people in villages and all, they don't have a lot of things to do, okay? So smartphone is firstly a source of the entertainment, a source for them to talk, send SMS. There's a lot of things that they can do with smartphone. So penetration of smartphone, I can say that, it has taken up exceeding our expectation in Vanuatu.
I have my tablet with me all the time, and it's a lovely thing. I have a 27-inch iMac at home, and I'm never, ever giving it up, because when you create content, images, video, written material, these things are the worst in the world. We need to be really careful. The question I ask myself is, can I do my master's thesis on this device? If I cannot, then I have to find a way, because it's an essential thing. Data input and data creation, especially in a linguistically unique part of the world, a culturally unique part of the world, is a need that's not going away. So mobile is good, and portable low-power devices are the future. That's indisputable. What we haven't decided yet is what our students are going to use. We're exploring that right now. There's projects underway right now to take a look at that, to better understand the challenges. But you can't just say mobile, mobile, mobile and be done with it, because there's a huge unanswered question, and that's, what do I create with? Because it's not, in many ways, it's not this little device here.
Just to add on, I think Andrew mentioned a little bit about it, mentioned education. There's some people did mention that, the literacy, lack of education could limit the uptake of smartphone. I'll tell you a story. It's a very famous story from a remote village in Ethiopia in Africa. In this village, they've never seen a single letter or even a number. It's quite a very remote area. and they give them 4 tablets. Within the first few hours, those kids who've never gone to school managed to turn on the tablet. Within the first few days, they managed to start playing with some of the application, and within less than 1 month, they hacked the Android system. That's something that we think about over the next few days and coming years. But I have no doubt the uptake. I mean, look at the type of audience here since yesterday. Yeah? Already will give you an indication about the uptake of smartphones and tablets in the next few years. That should give an idea to the telcos, how do they shape their business model in the future to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. Do we have any other questions? Do you see any on? By the way, while the mic's going out there, I have exactly the same story in Kenya. I had a 5-year-old come to my house. I had a laptop, and that child did not read or write. But within a couple of hours, the child was able to go play a very simple game on the laptop. And of course, he was very proud about the second day in when he actually set up a Facebook account.
Just considering Vanuatu is almost designed for wireless black spots in terms of topography, the challenge of the low catchment or market availability in some areas to be serviced. Are there any emerging technologies for delivering or sharing internet access peer-to-peer or alternatives to get above some minimum usable bandwidth, not for over OTT applications, but connectivity, call it 128 kbits per second until something else comes along?
I'll jump in while these guys are discussing.
Let me come to that. Okay, I think technologies are coming up with, like, Pacific themselves, they are coming up with a solution whereby, we'll be able to provide bandwidth, whatever we want around the Pacific. So there is quite a lot of things that may come up, okay, right, in the near future. And we believe that, in the next 1 year or 1.5 years, each and every corners of Vanuatu can be connected to
So I guess delivering bandwidth into any spot is entirely feasible. Obviously not cost effective in some instances, but as was just said, that technologies are emerging, which has got a higher saturation point, which will be able to reach into those areas. But it's really case by case basis. There shouldn't really be anywhere that cannot be reached by satellite to some degree, which would probably be today the most cost-effective way of achieving access.
There are a lot of possibilities that are created by mesh networks, peer-to-peer networks, sort of sharing information. And as Bob Horton quite rightly highlighted, the Internet of Things is going to need that kind of network topology in order to work. But the problem that we face in Vanuatu and throughout the Pacific Islands is density, population density, and topography. We've got a lot of hills and we've got a lot of ocean in between us. So getting the necessary number of clients, peers all in line of sight to one another, which is really what you need, it's a big ask right now. So I think for the foreseeable future, I bet money on the fact that in 5-6 years' time, we'll be looking at 4G and 5G as our baseline, that it won't particularly change a great deal. I'd like to see a lot more decentralization in terms of network topologies. I'd like to see a lot more decentralization in terms of data and how it's handled and how we share it. But realistically, we're again, because of our unique geographical circumstances and our very low population, we're working at a real deficit when those technologies are concerned.
Thanks, Gary. I think if there's one more question, we'll take it. If not, we'll ask the panel to give us their final comments. Does anybody have any other question? Great. So a concluding comment about your predictions. We'll start with Mr. McGarry.
Very, very simple. Vanuatu will continue to be the best country in the Pacific for internet. We've got everything going for us. We've got great people. We're punching well above our weight in terms of the regulatory environment, the competitive environment that we have. We've got really, everything going for us. And we're a little bit of a Goldilocks kind of circumstance where we're not so big that things will get out of hand, and we're not so small that we can't actually achieve things. So people in the tech community work together, and they will continue to work together quite well. We will fall behind globally, and we run a significant danger, and that is that once bandwidth usage passes a certain point, if we can't interact with the bandwidth at that level, then we're not going to be able to conduct a dialogue, a useful information dialogue with the rest of the world. And it's a real liability. I'm not just making this up to get the donors to start digging into their pockets. It's a real possibility. We're on YouTube already. We're on, so much is happening on video that we don't have a prayer of delivering to the remotest communities. We can get text out there, but it's not about text anymore. So we need to find something more than we have. In spite of being the best at what we're doing, we still need to do better. And it's not clear yet how that's going to be achieved.
Looking at, I guess, Vanuatu and the discussions which have been held over the last couple of days, in particular to the point of reaching 98% deliverance of, 98% coverage of access for Vanuatu within the next few years. I guess my prediction would be that you'll see over the coming years, both TVL and Digicel and the other private operators which are popping up in the market, you'll see a massive rollout of infrastructure and new technologies to A, compete with each other, and B, to assist the government's goal of reaching that 98%. And so along with those technologies and the adoption that will come up from that, then there'll be obviously the issue of chasing greater bandwidth out of the country. You'll see more organizations requiring larger amounts of bandwidth, especially as you have different groups, international groups, which will have bases here, and obviously the need for international circuits and things like that, which will all play a major part on the bandwidth requirements out of country.
Vanuatu presently is, on the mobile side of the business, it's 60% penetration, and we believe that there's quite a lot to be that's going to happen in view of moving to the next level, because we need to know, we are well aware, all main industry players, that worldwide most of the countries are above 100%, and we are here 60%. There's quite a lot of things to be done here, and we believe that what is next is to create demand, really revolutionize the market, create new needs, create new modes, and also look at how to create competitive edge, and also create new type of products and services that will change the life of the people. And we believe that this is where all players need to go and also position ICT as a driver of development in Vanuatu.
I think in order to take advantage and see some of these predictions come to fruition in the next few years, it's important that we continue to have the government's political will and political commitment in supporting the sector. We need to continue to have a fully independent and a strong, capable regulator. We need to create a conducive environment that attracts private sector to continue to provide capital investment into the sector so we can benefit from all these services. My appeal to all the line agencies in the Vanuatu government, including private sector as well, is to continue to prioritize. I'm sure the last 2 days you've all seen the benefits of ICT as an enabler. I encourage all of you to readjust your corporate plan, your business goals, your objective, and see ICT as one of the top priorities, not only on paper, but also provide all the financial resources in order to fully capitalize on, fully use ICT as a tool to achieve your business objectives. I encourage all line agencies, especially in the budget, annual budget in the coming years, please prioritize on side project funds. I encourage also business sector, start to have your own ICT strategies, put aside funding in order to support the industry, to continue to grow, and also to expand accessibility in the multiple areas. I encourage the government, especially the Ministry of Education, to continue to provide the support for ICT in education. Last but not the least, I encourage everyone to read the National ICT Policy and Universal Access Policy. And let me assure everyone that the is not only for the industry, it's not only for OGCI or the TRR, it should be a strong stakeholder collaboration. We should work as a team to fully capitalize on ICT and hopefully help us to achieve our ultimate goal, which is a healthy and a wealthy Vanuatu.
I just want to thank the panelists for a very, very interesting discussion, and particularly a good discussion back and forth between industry, government, slightly different views. I think it was very helpful.
Okay, thank you too much, Michael, for moderating our last session for today. We have now come to the end of a very informative sessions yesterday and today. And we would like to thank all moderators and presenters as well as panelists for taking part in our sessions. And we also would like to thank our listeners who are listening in on radio as well as streaming live. Thank you for participating in these 2 days. Without taking much of your time, we'll have a 5 minutes break, and I'll ask TRR to come on up and do a draw for the quiz. While they're making their way up, I have an announcement. Someone left the BlackBerry phone in the man's bathroom and someone took it. So if you find that phone, could you please leave it at the back at the OGCIO booth. Announcement back again. Suppose one man find one BlackBerry smartphone lo bathroom lo man. Suppose sabe putum lo booth lo OGCIO. Hemi blow one small boy, hemi la ko stop lo so please suppose you find him, you may help him blow return him phone ya. Buat lain no. Jika mau pantalos
Okay, good afternoon. Back again. All Pekinini where you've stop. Samfla Loivla been come taking quiz lo boot blo TRR, and this is to do with cybersecurity. After how you meet test team knowledge blo you've all some say you've go online. You've something you've should make him when you are online. So all get the forms you've been completing, you've taken quiz, you've put him go inside lo one box and till afternoon by me draw him. You got 4 lucky winners by me drawing 4 people out lo all draw all names here. And suppose you stop around, please, but you come collecting prize below you. Okay, Hemi blow help him all picking blow you no more blow list have take him quiz and looks have some knowledge blow get all side blow security one them level straight. So if la karamemia Hemi not only going to be used in this draw and this quiz, but Hemi very important information blow show him say all picking blow me understanding blow side blow security and time only go online Hemi stop blow one them level. And then we can put that together all reports and you must have given me go all get authorities or policy makers and decision makers, loli save making more appropriate mechanisms to handle more issues here. So first draw by me asking Mr. Jackson Miake, Lohemi Pulum. Okay, first name only Pulum lo box here, Emi Relvi Hinge lo Malapo College. Me understand so something only wait coco barely go home finish, but I'm alright, me like hold him name blow you. Relvi Hinge lo Malapo College, so me like come deliver him prize blow you. So you may give him one hand lo Relvi where me carry 8 out of 8 lol questions play him. Suppose student here been stopped by me come pulum next draw, but since I'm not stopped by Jackson, go ahead pulum no more. Okay, so second winner blame me back again. Apparently, I'm come back again to Malapo College, year 13 student, and me Kevin Liang. Kevin Liang. He thinks I'm los young fella boy. Yeah. So I'm alright. I'm stand up full up time, down the TRR. That's why I'm carrying 8 out of 8 back again. You got 2 more block go. Third lucky winner blame me Travis Urel of Villa North School. And me carry 7 out of 8 lo small quiz here, but me go inside lo draw. So Travis Urel, so you stop inside lo crowd, please you come. Current prize blow you. You may give him hand lo young fella man. Yeah. So Travis and carry 116 gigabytes flash drive with one headset. Travis. So Travis by pull him out lucky last winner. And last and lucky winner blow this afternoon. Back again, Nigolo Malapo College students. So you look at some full up on Malapoli, come take him quiz here. Nigolo Cindy Tagaro. Cindy Tagaro, Malapo College. Suppose you stop, you come take him prize blue you. And Cindy, and karam 8 out of 8 look questions blue him. Can you give him hand, Cindy, please? Let me stop come. Okay. So Hemia, now that you have it, the 4 lucky winners will take part in a small quiz blo tiara and Hemi blo testing knowledge blo geta and we say lo test your online safety knowledge. And for all 8 questions, what would you do? Question 1, I just met someone in a chat room and they want my phone number. What should I do? Number 2, a person I have been talking to online said they want to share passwords with me. What should I do? Question 3, I have a picture of myself that I want to send to my online friend. What should I do? Question 4, I'm exploring new websites and chat rooms my parents don't know about. What should I do? I received a mean and threatening email from someone online. What should I do? Question 6, I'm over at my friend's house. So you continue to use something your parents are teaching you, or you go make them up online, your house, friends, you. That was another question. I'm on the website and that wants my name and phone number to enter a contest. What should I do? And number 8, and we say, my online friend says they want to meet me in person and I shouldn't tell my parents. What should I do? So all get the questions there. Might only sound simple, but so you want them looking self, picking in really savvy when I'm making time will stop online. Thank you very much, everybody, for taking part in this quiz. From TRR, we thank you because this is going to go into our stats collection and information. Thank you.
Okay, thank you once again, TRR. Take part in presentation. Okay, we have come to the end of our 2 very hectic and comprehensive days. On behalf of our office, the Office of the Government Chief Information Officer, as well as on behalf of the government, Vanuatu, thank you, Thomas, everyone. We participate in these 2 days. We celebrate them ICT Days Pacific 2015. Hemi also, Hemi also important from you must have celebrate them 150 years since International Telecoms Union Hemi been created back in 1865, and you must have also makam today the past 2 days. What I'm celebration here. On behalf of our office also, we would like to extend a big thank you to the International Telecoms Union, Mr. Samir Sharma, who is here with us this afternoon. We would like to thank you for traveling all the way in your busy schedule to be with us during the past 2 days. And we believe our deliberations and networking have been useful. And we wish you well as you return back to office up in Bangkok. I would also like to extend our big thank you to Dr. Bob Horden, who's here with us from the Commonwealth Telecoms Organization. He is the ambassador for CTO. And we would also like to thank you for being here with us. And we believe in our discussions, in the sessions, some of the topics that have popped up will pave way for our relationship into the future with CTO, given that Vanuatu is also a member of CTO and a member of the International Telecoms Union as well. We would also like to say a big thank you to our friends from Inomial, Richard and Mark, who are busy at the back, for traveling all the way from Australia to be here with us today. Thank you for your support and your sponsor, especially for this event. We also would like to thank Shak Samuel Prolong, who is somewhere within the vicinity from Pacific Broadband Satellite, traveling all the way from Singapore to be here with us at this very important event, and we do hope to have further discussions with you on the solutions you are putting out for your satellite business. And we would also like to thank the management and team of this hotel, the Warwick Lagoon Hotel, for hosting this very successful event. And we know that without your continued support, we would not have a very successful event as we have today, especially after the tropical cyclone Pam. And given that this is the first big event that we have hosted in this hotel. We'd also like to thank the staff and management of the Vanuatu Broadcasting and Television Corporation for running our sound system and the videos, and also our broadcast live on radio. Thank you, Thomas. Lo yufala we lo hatok lo yufala yumisa katuan kut clear sound system mo video we hemi step outside. We thank you to all people of Vanuatu, especially Yumi Lofila, Watam Los Santo, and as well as Yumi Waymi stop close up, Yumi attend, that Yumi tune in lo radio or Yumi go online, lo look live stream. Thank you to mas lo participation to Yuvla. And I hope it's a discussion to me about technology. Mawanem hemi sa megam lo live play me. By hemi one means pro awareness, pro isa ng something, pro hemi sa helping you, lo life for you. Would also like to thank John and John, traveling all the way from the United States to be here with us to talk about e-government and mobile banking. And they will be around tonight as well as our other participants. If you got any questions, please don't hesitate. Me also want to tell them thank you. We take stalls outside without hapok blavla lo past 2 days by fulapman alino sa kakay lo help and people kata, and we want to tell them thank you. No matter cyclone hemikilimiti, you still come out to participate in this event. I would also like to thank all our presenters from session 1, starting yesterday, especially to our official invited guests who did take the time off to be with us, from especially Honorable Prime Minister, who had stop at the UM yesterday. Thank you, Lord participation for him. Also, thank you, Lord His Excellency, Mr. Jeremy, High Commissioner of Australia, who stop lo Fila, Lord stop to at the UM. Also, Ms. Helen Pa, who Deputy High Commissioner of New Zealand High Court, who been stop at the UM yesterday, as well as all officials, Embassy of China, with an Embassy of France, who have been stop at the UM yesterday. We also want to thank you, operators. You got Mr. Tan McCary, you got Moses Stevens, President Lopina, also Miss Evelyn Boa, editor of Independent Newspaper. Want to thank you to Mr. Lloyd Taylor, as well as Mr. Michael Kelhoof, who have only served moderator all sessions. Play me, ikam kasem lo time today. We also want to thank you, lo all nara panelists, where only been take from all our operators, especially TVL and TGCell, who've been very participating in our discussions. We'd also like to thank you for your time, and okay, not only him, we want to thank you, all partners play me, for event. We have the Australian aid through the Governance for Growth program. Thank you for supporting us in this event. Also like to thank our partner, the Telecommunication and Radio Communication Regulators Office, Ron, Box, the regulator, as well as your hardworking staff who can be here with us in the past 2 days to celebrate this ICT Days event. I'd like to thank our partner, the Vanuatu Tourism Office, for promoting this event on your events calendar. And we look a few visitors who have already been come around, look, and want them also tell them you this opportunity. Also, our partner, the University of the South Pacific, would like to thank all the staff who have been here with us in the past 2 days to take part, and also our other stakeholders. Our major sponsors for this event, Telecom Vanuatu Limited. I'd like to thank Mr. Prakash Piko, the CEO of TL, and your staff who've been here with us supporting this event. Also, Mr. Simon Fraser, CEO of Digicel Vanuatu Limited, for sponsoring this event. Also to Pacific Broadband Satellites, to Shaq, Samuel Prolong, and the team from Pacific. Thank you for also sponsoring in this event. I'd like to also thank Opticom, a local fiber and communication network company who are based here in Villa. Thank you, Opticom, for sponsoring this event and also being part of our exhibition. We also want to tell them a big thank you to Mark and Richard from Inomial for coming all the way to be here with us at this event, and also being one of our major sponsors. Also to Computer World, I see Yair and the team who are also here tonight. Thank you for sponsoring the event, and we do look forward to working further with you into the future. We also like to thank Interchange, sponsoring the event, CNS, team from CNS, thank you Thomas, Wavela Sadakam, Staplo Exhibition Stall Wavela, Kasani Mikasan End. Also to Bread Bank, thank you for supporting this event and also participating in our exhibition. Also to our team at VNPF, Vanuatu National Provident Fund, who were also major sponsors in this event. To Ahitech, thank you Thomas, Michelle, Russell, and team. We will have a start to put out one very innovative screen when we attract and full up interest ball beginning, as well as all audience. Also to One Talk Network, thank you. To Ed McQuire at Pacific Telecom, thank you for sponsoring this event, and also for your team for your exhibition into all the exciting e-school applications that you have at the exhibition booth. Also to Spim, Pascal, if you're around, thank you for sponsoring this event. And also Mobi Money, Mark Warren and the team, Mobi Money, thank you much for sponsoring the event here. Misalnya a company very new, and we hope the publicity that you've put in this event by helping you and business for you into the future. Also to Rafael at Alpha Vanuatu, thank you also for sponsoring us, especially this event, and we hope we wish you well in your business. Also to Sashin and the team at Shaba Image, thank you to us for continue to sponsor the event there since we started 3 years ago, and this is our 4th edition. And without support by event there, as successful as you must have a look this afternoon. And a big thank you once again for everyone, for coming out in your busy schedules to be here with us in the past 2 days. And I do hope that our people who have come in of our exhibitions have learned quite a lot to help them mostly, and for us to continue to build a stronger and more resilient country. Welcome to Tokyo. Let me start conclude all acknowledgement remarks play me this afternoon, and me also want to tell them thank you, lol staff Plometio, Ministry of Lands, and also our team at OCCIO. Thank you also for coming out in this event. I think Hemenamo, mi talk too much, minus spolam program. Our last event for this evenings is the Pacific ICT Days award ceremony. You're invited to hang around and see the award ceremony. I got live entertainment after the ceremony, so we may stop. No forget, we got award is stop yet, and also a live entertainment where you must have a look. All musicians, all stop set up finish. Back again, thank you Thomas, and we wish you one good evening. And for those of us who've traveled across oceans, I wish you well in your travel back, and we hope to see you again sometimes. And otherwise, looking you back again, lo ICT Days, pro 2016, pahemi stop semak date and venue, and looking you back again. Thank you Thomas.